Welcome to my Alone With Me Minifreak series. This is episode 3, filter section. So first, what is Alone With Me series? Alone With Me is a series where you follow my end-to-end process in learning to get the best out of a synthesizer, primarily from a sound design perspective. In this case, we'll be looking at the Arturia Minifreak. So far, you've got my first impressions, you've had an overview of the controls in general, and we've looked at the oscillator section. What we're going to look at today is the filter section. So first, let's create an init patch. Shift and erase, preset init. So the filter section is over here. Things of note. We have a dedicated cutoff control, a dedicated resonance control. We have a control that lets us set the amount of the envelope that is routed to the cutoff. And there is a secondary function here which allows us to set how much of the velocity of your key adjusts the amount of envelope that arrives here. So first, let's design a quick sound. This is an init, sounds a bit boring. Maybe bring this one down an octave. So the second oscillator I've tuned down an octave. First oscillator is not actually going to have a sub-oscillator. So quite a bold sound. In this case, I'm not using, as I mentioned, oscillator with one sub-oscillator, but using an actual second oscillator. Now let's just sweep the filter and hear how it sounds. So low pass mode, fully open. Bit of a vowely sound going on there. Let's get a little resonance. More. Nice sound, I like it picking out the harmonics there. So now let's route the envelope, that's this envelope, to the filter. But before we do that, let's change the shape of the envelope. Resonance there. So I think we already have an interesting timbre. Let's try and add some velocity expression here. So we hold down Shift and turn this. So this is controlling. So if I turn the resonance up, it'll be more obvious. Light press, you can hear a small vowel sound. Wow. With the resonance up, so you can hear that velocity impact there. One thing which I find a little strange is I don't see a panel control for adjusting how much the amplitude of the sound is impacted by the velocity. So it is in the sound edit menu. So sound edit, envelopes, velocity to VCA. So let's turn that up. So you can hear when I press it very lightly, the sound is significantly quieter. So let's play something. So I'm going to decrease that velocity sensitivity, open the filter a bit more. So a fairly interesting sound. Let's try switching to the bandpass filter. So bandpass filter, the resonance is going to have the traditional behavior of resonance, but also it will impact the bandwidth. So let's just listen. So now you can hear that we're picking out that narrow band. down a little bit. Less of this. So let's hear how that sounds. So I think I'll turn the sustain up a little bit. So I think you can hear that the way that I'm playing, I'm getting a little bit of voice stealing. This is 6 voices, so you need to be mindful of that. Finally, the high pass filter. Let's try having the So I've got the envelope sweeping in the opposite direction now. Let's turn that down. So, listening to the filters, I think I was correct when I said 12 dB per octave. You can hear that it's a relatively soft sound. It doesn't have that same punch of a 24 dB filter. I think for a polyphonic synthesizer, that makes sense. I think I prefer that softness. Hopefully you can hear that even just with this basic setup, 2 oscillators, could have even used 1, and the filter, we have quite a lot of timbral variation, especially when we experiment with the envelopes a little bit. So I think what we're going to do is next episode, we'll come back and we'll talk about the envelopes, both the regular envelope and the cycling envelope, in a little bit of detail. And that will give us some capacity to add some more interesting timbres here. In any case, thank you for joining me today, and goodbye.